Listen up. Welcome back to the Dimer Sports Betting Podcast. It is our final episode of January. Super Bowl 1 week away. Dave, how are you today?
I'm doing pretty well. We got golf on. It is frigid outside, and I am here in a t-shirt to make sure that I promote Dimers, the brand, and it's hurting me a little bit. We like to keep the heat nice and low in this house. So I'm a little cold. I'm a little chilly, but I got golf. I got the podcast. I got a 15-game NHL slate tonight. There's plenty to keep me warm and occupied.
We just got to get our Australian friends at Dimers to make some quarter zips, some hoodies for us here in the Midwest. And maybe one day we'll get across that hump. But you look great as always, sir. On today's show, this is what we have for you. We're going to dive deeper into the Super Bowl preview, starting with some betting trends over the years in this game, and then comparing it to some of our models' predictions. We also have some of our own personal favorite betting angles to share with you that are, of course, informed by the insights from Dimers Pro. I've got 3 more college basketball picks, 2 on Thursday night, 1 on Friday. And then we have the Australian Open semifinals ongoing too. We'll speak to what our model projects from some of the biggest names in tennis. Before we proceed with the show, though, Dimers has officially launched the Dimers app. And Dave, I'll let you speak on that a little more.
Yeah, it's really exciting. Been in the works for some time. Easily our most requested feature. We have people telling us like, oh, my app doesn't work, or like they'll talk about the site as the app. And it's like, we don't have one, but we know you want it. We finally did. We rolled it out last week. It's been great. It's got all of our bets and props on there, as well as the DimeBot assistant, a few extra features that are not actually presently on the site, like where it will show you the edge across multiple books, so you can see exactly how much value you're getting and where. Some additional signals and data on there. More features from Pro in the website coming down the line. Currently available on both iOS and Android. So please, if you love Dimers, download the app. You do need Pro to access it. It's an extension of Pro, not a substitute for it. So please, sign up for Dimers Pro. Use the promo code podcast. Get yourself 50% off. Download the app and add another tool to your Dimers arsenal.
Love it. Yeah, I checked it out last week when it launched, and it's amazing. It's honestly something that has been in the works forever that I knew about years ago, and I feel like the final product is as good as we ever could have envisioned for it. So check it out. It just makes all of this even easier if you are a Dimers Pro user. And if you're not a Dimers Pro subscriber yet, change that today. Get 50% off with Dimers Pro. Use promo code PODCAST. It's exclusively there so you can take advantage. Okay, we start the show with some things that you should have bet.
Should have bet that.
Good to see some wins for my college corner hoops picks. 2-1 on Tuesday, and the model has been rolling. We're on a 4-2 run on these 3-pick slates, and hopefully that continues into tonight. Beyond college hoops, what else did we win since the last time we talked?
Some pretty nice stuff in hockey last night, which has me particularly excited for tonight's 15-game slate. Couldn't have been more opposite last night, just 3 games. A bunch of edges hit in those games. I'm just going to pull up a couple things here if you are watching the show. These are losing parlays that you'll see, but these are all singles that were on site. Nice little lesson there for you. Play your straights. But Simon Holmstrom plus 340, Travis Konechny plus 230, Matthew Olivier plus 850. These were all edges on site, props that were signaled with a high value. Konechny and Holmstrom were actually the top probability with an edge in their game. Olivier was the lowest probability with an edge in his game. That was my logic behind putting these together. Go figure, Brock Nelson, who was the one I loved the most, made a nice Dimers social Twitter thread about it. Played him for 1 and 2. Strange game for him. No shots on goal. Weird game for the Avs. Didn't get through, but Konechny, Holmstrom, Olivier all do. I took Nelson and Konechny, who were my favorites. I played them for 2+ and 3+. And if you're paying attention at all to last night's NHL slate, Travis Konechny had his 3rd hat trick of his career last night. So hit plus 10,000 to score 3+ goals, plus 1,600 to score 2+. Just a way you can use the Dimers model. They were high probability. They were in good matchups. So I took a little sprinkle on the two of them. And for transparency, obviously I lost the Brock Nelson bets, but when you hit plus 10,000 on a hat trick, $2 takes you a long way. So that was pretty cool to see from the Dimers model. Maybe we'll get a little lucky tonight with our segment that we have coming up later in the show for NHL. Beyond that, one other thing I want to call out, we don't like to take early victory laps here. You should really never take them. But our NBA season preview on this show way back in October, I raised the Celtics as a sleeper in our model. They were plus 6,000 to win the NBA Finals. They're now plus 1,200. They're our third best probability, and our model's favorite to win the East at 20.7%, as short as plus 340 on the books to win the conference. No real update on Tatum's return, if he even does, but something to watch over the next month. And just once again, the Dimers futures model finding market inefficiencies, regardless of how it plays out. Something that we said this was incorrect. The Celtics should not be plus 6,000, or I think they were plus 7,000 at their best odds to win the NBA Finals. And here we are. They're a top three on the books. So we'll see what happens down the stretch. Still plenty of time to go. They're probably not getting Giannis, but I mean, hey, imagine they get Giannis. I think they're going to shoot up that board even a little more.
Yeah, if as a Detroit Pistons fan, if the Celtics get Giannis, I will no longer be here. So hopefully that doesn't happen. But they've been great, and you called it out. You nailed it in the very brief preseason NBA discussion that we put on this show. So you got to love it. Again, Dimers Pro is what you need. You can use all of this data, all these insights, and draw your own conclusions in real time. Don't wait around for us. Use promo code podcast. Get 50% off of it all. Okay, Super Bowl time. We are going to take a deeper look into some trends. And I'm glad because these have been all over my timeline on various social media channels. It's like, as a sports bettor, I feel like the 2 weeks leading up to the Super Bowl go in stages, and you start with the reaction to the line. Then you start with like some injury reports. Then now we're in phase 3, which is like, well, for 17 straight Super Bowls, this has happened. And it just gets the wheels spinning creatively. So I'm so glad that you're ready to guide us through this today, Dave. Where do we start?
Yeah, I just real quick, you're absolutely right. I feel like the trends hits right in the middle of everything, the initial reactions. And then by the time you get to the week of, everybody's talking about novelty props and all the promos and who scored a touchdown, and the parlays start rolling out. But yeah, right in the middle, everyone's like, well, what's happened in the past? What does it mean for the future? Sometimes it means nothing. Sometimes it means everything. Some of these are very notable from a betting standpoint. Some of them are pure noise. Others are just deeper looks at the tendencies for teams that reach the big game and how they approach the game and how, what makes a team Super Bowl worthy, I guess. So you've probably seen some of these already, particularly the ones around the game lines, but there are some that are pretty unique to this particular matchup that we could take a look at, compare it to the Dimers data, and see if there is actually an edge in a trend or if it is just a smoke screen, so to say. So let's look real quick at the lines. The spread, past 15 Super Bowls, underdogs are 10-5 against the spread, also on the money line. A little interesting there. And more recently, they've covered in 5 straight, all but one of those opening at a shorter line than this Super Bowl's 3.5-point opening, now 4.5. That would be the Rams Bengals. That was +4. Notably, this means that even when the favorites win, they struggle to cover. Not totally surprising. You would imagine that the two teams who get to the Super Bowl are evenly enough matched that the game should be close, is most of the time. I think it's safe to say, anybody who's watched Super Bowls in their entire lifetime. But the Dimers model does point to an early 60.3% probability for New England to cover the current 4.5, falling in line with that trend where the dogs come through. Favorite hasn't covered a pregame spread of 4 or more points since the Colts, who were -7 versus the Bears in Super Bowl 41. That stood out to me more than anything about the underdogs or recent trends, but that those larger spreads, which is interesting in this one because it didn't open that way. It moved to a larger number, which we see regularly is difficult for favorites to cover. So wouldn't be surprised to see more money coming in on the Pats on this at this current number, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. The total, Not too different. Comes to the over-under. Recent trends are slightly to the under. 9-6, one game off from the same trend of the spread. This year's total of 45.5 is the lowest since Denver versus Carolina in Super Bowl 50. That one was 43.5. And before that game, the previous 5 Super Bowls with a total set under 50 all went over. So, low total, go over. Since then, only 4 have been set at that mark under 50, going 2-2. So you're seeing that change a little bit. Earlier, low totals were almost a automatic over, not so much lately. And with this one, our model currently projects 53.2% probability to the over 45.5 in Super Bowl 60. And then one more for game lines, underdogs and favorites, maybe overdogs. They've won 3 straight. As mentioned in the spread trend, they've won 10 of the last 15 Super Bowls. I thought this was also notable, perhaps again more than the larger sample size. They've won 3 of 4 when priced at 4 points or longer with this spread outside that number. So New England is just the 4th team in 50 years to reach the Super Bowl after opening 81 or longer. So, there's a lot not really lining up in their favor. Some things are, but the model gives them a 38% probability of upsetting Seattle and winning outright in Drake May's second season. Sorry. I will say also the 99 Rams are the only team that long that converted that into a title. So the Patriots would be in some unique company.
That's kind of crazy to think about. Like really, you have to go all the way back to 99 for a team that long that has won. It's just kind of crazy. It makes you appreciate the greatness we've seen in this sport.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious what the Giants were that year because they were, probably the biggest dog in a long time to even win the Super Bowl against the Patriots based on the game line. So I'm curious what they were preseason in that, but they weren't 80-1, I guess.
Yeah.
And then, I meant to mention this earlier, but this kind of ties into the spread. This is really interesting. Conference championship carryover, which could be the biggest indicator here of performance, maybe more so than dogs covering recently. But since the merger, teams that don't cover in the conference championship game, just 4-10 on the money line and 2-11 and 1 against the spread in the Super Bowl since the merger. So not covering the spread in conference championship game does not bode very well for the team that makes the Super Bowl and didn't do so. New England fits that trend after falling directly into that bucket, did not cover against the Broncos, while Seattle did cover the 2.5 against the Rams. So little food for thought there.
Yeah, that's wild too. I mean, I don't know. Looking back at conference championship carryover, I feel like I never even thought of it before. So now here we are. It's like, I don't know. It's just one of those things that I've never even put my brain around as something to even consider. And then you look back and you're like, wait a second, that makes a lot of sense that it's been happening. So
yeah, it's pretty substantial. 2-11 against the spread, 2-11-1 rather against the spread. Pretty substantial for not covering the week before. So
yeah,
make of that what you will. But I will say all those trends lined together definitely help you maybe think it's going to be Seattle money line, Patriots cover in a close game. But we'll see.
Yeah, it all maps to what the model sort of had in the gut feel at the beginning, which is nice for us. So it also makes me, it's like back to my point where like everyone's looking for this stuff. Feel like you can find whatever stats you need to drive home what you're looking for, which is one of my favorite parts of the narrative of Super Bowl week,
Yeah, if you've got an angle you love, you can find the data to support it pretty much, which is another reason it's helpful to try and cut through the noise. We'll look at and see what the Dimers data says against everything else to try to, gain at least a little bit of a lean in one way or another if you don't have one.
Right.
So let's go to a couple more here. Rematches in the Super Bowl. This is the 10th instance of 2 unique teams facing off. Only been 9 previous pairs. Cowboys and Steelers, the only one to meet 3 times. Steelers won 2 of those. The teams that faced off twice, 3 of them managed to split the series. Washington and Miami, New England and Philadelphia, Kansas City and Philadelphia. Kind of funny that Philly's in 2 of those with some of the fewest Super Bowl appearances. And New England, notably in there with another chance to split or to sweep this series, rather. So they famously won versus the Seahawks on the late game Malcolm Butler interception. We'll see if the Seahawks can get their revenge and make another split series here.
Yeah, it's gonna just like jog the memory of that play. I mean, one of the most iconic plays in NFL history.
Yeah, we're gonna see it all the way up to probably in every single highlight reel of Super Bowl content until then. Yeah, and crazy is one of the craziest plays we've ever seen in the Super Bowl, without a doubt. But
truly, yeah. And then the Panda Marshawn Lynch on the bench, just like with his hands up in the air. I never get over it.
Shout out to that producer. He was very, very ready for that. All right, and then just two more. These are more team and player based level trends. Two really interesting ones, both very strongly in favor of Seattle. So DVOA and wide receiver dominance have had smaller sample sizes, but very favorable for the team that they back. Seattle enters the Super Bowl as a DVOA absolute juggernaut. They led the NFL in total and defensive DVOA this year. Very impressive. Only 5 teams have pulled that off in the last 40 years. 4 of them went on to win. 4 of them went on to win the Super Bowl, by an average margin of 28 points. Seahawks get a 62% probability to win. They're not projected to win by 4 scores, but that old adage of defense wins championships really seems to resonate when your team is stacked at this particular level of elite form.
See, now I'm jumping in. I love you because you're not doing what I just criticized the trend finders of. You're bringing both sides. You're bringing historical accuracy to us right now. Even though there's trends that dictate the underdog is the side with value from us that our model shows, and maybe that can hit. No, wait a second. 4 times in history, this has been a dog walking when you've had a team this good. I do got to say, I am wrapping my brain around the idea that this Seattle team has just been a sleeping juggernaut all year. And I really do think it's that quarterback. Darnold's been great in the playoffs, but you heard me every step of the way, round by round. I'm not backing a team with Sam Darnold to do this. I wonder if they had a sexier name, face under center, if we would have a much easier time looking at this team with 2 elite running backs and 2 great wide receivers and great trench play and all-time defense and feel like it was obvious all along. What's your gut say on that right now, Dave?
I definitely don't. I don't disagree. I mean, there's definitely a hurdle to get over when you look at this team and you see how stacked they are, and then it's Sam Darnold, and it's more of a historical results thing than whether or not the kid can actually play. He was definitely better than he got credit for a lot. He got stuck in some crummy situations. I mean, before last year, he was a backup for a few seasons. So it's kind of, we're just not really used to this scenario. And on the other side, it's Drake May, who, we've talked about him maybe not quite being there yet. The Patriots schedule has been beaten to death all season long as a narrative, and I don't think it's a wrong one, but, I don't need to harp on that either. But, it's also kind of clouding things there. We're like, well, Sam Darnold's got to be better than Drake May in this scenario, right? I mean, if we're going to knock Sam Darnold for past performance, but not Drake May for not looking so great in the playoffs, and this only being his second season, it doesn't feel really fair. So, yeah, I think the name is everything very much. And I don't think people would be, no one's writing off the Seahawks, but I think this would be even more so projected to be just an absolute blowout if we were looking at, I don't know, maybe even a Kirk Cousins from a couple years ago or something in this scenario. But
yeah, or like even, I don't know, it's like if they had Eli Manning, are we looking at this team completely like a late career Eli Manning who had already won 1 Super Bowl? Do we just have an easier time wrapping our brain around it? I don't know. Yeah. But it's dawning on me more and more the closer we get to game. I need to fight my gut instinct that wants to fade this team because Sam Darnold is the quarterback. And this trend that you brought out, it's like we've seen a team effectively this good 4 times in Super Bowls. Every single time it's been a blowout. And that's fascinating to me. I never would have thought of that. And then the last one has a receiver history here.
Yeah, and it's going to double down on that same sentiment for you. Wide receiver, offensive player of the year favorite, Jackson Smith-Njigba, 4th player to lead the NFL in receiving yards and reach the Super Bowl in that season. Joins Drew Pearson in 77, Jerry Rice in 89, 94, and his current teammate, Cooper Kupp, 2021. Those teams went 4-0 in the Super Bowl. Jackson Smith-Njigba projects for 97.1 yards, 45.9% touchdown probability in our NFL projections hub. Cooper Kupp went on to win Super Bowl MVP that year. 8th-time receiver has done so. JSN's plus 600 to win Super Bowl 60 MVP. Both those trends very strongly in favor of Seattle.
Wow. Yeah, it's fascinating stuff. It really is. I mean, there's trends that support both sides. Like we said, maybe we should remember that at the end of the day, trends are just that. They're trends. They're not necessarily an indicator of what's to come, but they do give you the intel on what happens most often. So thank you for corralling all of this for us. But I guess as a conclusion, if we had to listen to all of these trends and walk away with a takeaway, do you have one?
Yeah, Seahawks win, Patriots cover, and JSN does not win Super Bowl MVP, but records 100 yards and a touchdown. Sam Darnold wins it.
There we go. Okay, I can see it. By the way, on this topic of trends, before we move on to something else, I do just want to throw out, I feel like this is an under-discussed part of Dimers Pro. If you are a Dimers user, right, and you navigate the site, use the app, you can also access trends for especially NBA. I remember looking at this every single night when I was an NBA bettor a couple of years ago. And I just pulled it up in the background right now. It's just player trends based on what they've done in their last 7, 10, 5, however many games. You probably know more about the thresholds. But if you enjoyed this segment of the pod show, you should also explore that portion of Dimers Pro because there's some pretty interesting player data there.
Yeah, it's a really great tool. I love to use it alongside the props tool, especially with the NHL, because if I find a guy who's got a positive trend for shots on goal or points, but then he's also got an edge in an assist or shots on goal or a goal scorer, all that coming together usually points to a pretty good spot. And then I just check against the matchup, and if I don't see any red flags, that's usually a good bet for me when using the trends tool.
Yeah, all right. Another way to use the tools at your disposal, thanks to Dimers. Okay, let's talk through some other betting angles. These are not trends, but these are personal, I guess, plays, if you want to call them that, things that we have personally identified that are, of course, derived from the model's projections for Super Bowl. What is it? Super Bowl 60 at this point?
60. Yeah, I know. I'm like LX, and then I'm like, wait, what is it? 60? Yeah.
I keep saying it out loud to myself. I'm like, there has not been 60 Super Bowls. No, there is. It's twice my age. Anyways, let's start with, you want to go first or you want me to go first here?
Yeah, I'll go first. But also real quick, what you said about, they're not 60 Super Bowls. That's what gets me every time I'm looking at historical data, which has been all it is for the last couple of days. I'm just like, wait, that was Super Bowl 42. Or I'm like, this was Super Bowl 30 something. And I'm like, this feels like it was 10 years ago. I can't believe it. Yeah, I don't know. It's wild. Time flies when you watch the NFL, I guess.
Insane. There's a day that I look back, it's going to be Super Bowl 100. And I'm going to hopefully still walking around like, remember when Dave and I said Super Bowl 60 was crazy. All right, Dave.
Tom Brady is still in the Raiders. Maybe dusting off the jersey to go out there and play because they still haven't gotten a QB.
That's so good.
Yeah. Anyway, my favorite play of Super Bowl 60 is one I kind of talked about the other day, and I'm not ashamed to say I am going straight back to the well here. Rashid Shaheed receiving ladder. We project him for 28.0 receiving yards. He cashed the max first quarter ladder on a single pass in the NFC Championship. He cashed 3 alternate lines for the game of 30, 40, and 50 plus. Would have gone up to 70 if Darnold doesn't miss him on the sideline late in the game. Projects, and I had a cash out staring at me for 60, 70. I was like, no, he's getting this. He's getting this. And he did not, but it was okay because he max cashed the first quarter. Like I said, we project him for 28.0 yards. Line is as low as 21.5 on FanDuel at minus 110 both ways. So a good bet just to take him to go over. He's 23.5 on DraftKings. So you're getting 2 yards of an edge there as well at the same odds, by the way. He had 5 targets in the playoffs through 2 games, 3 total targets over his past 3 games in the regular season. They're going back to him in the bigger spots here. He's got the longest ADOT, average depth of target, in the playoffs of any player at 26.4 yards. He ran 28 routes last week compared to 12 the week before against San Francisco. His first quarter ladder starts at 5+ and plus 192. based on his usage, I probably wouldn't even play that. The chances of Rashid Shaheed catching a 5 to 9 yard pass and not going for 10 yards it is very unlikely. He's a big play guy. Like I just said, his ADOT is 26 yards. So it's unlikely he's catching only 5. So I would probably play him starting at 10 plus, go up to 30, 35 plus. That's what I did last week. Play maybe my personal recommendation would be 1.5 units maybe across that whole thing. And then for the full game, play him at 50, 60, 70 for that other half a unit. Now you're just giving yourself huge upside at smaller risk on those higher plays. I mean, if he gets 10, 15 yards in the first quarter, you're making a profit. And if he goes up from there, you're looking really nice. He's a good weapon for him. Frankly, New England's only chances in this game are to keep Jackson Smith and Jigba's output minimized and hopefully clamp down the run game. Both of those opening up Shaheed in the passing game, and I think he delivers here.
I love it. I was hoping that you were going to be so bold as to give us the Shaheed plays. I was cowardly. I didn't do it, and you stepped in to save the day. So thank you. I am going to also look at a Seahawks receiver for my first one. And in a very different spirit than I normally bring to personal plays on this show, I'm going very simple here. I think this is a great plus money prop. Jake Bobo to record 1+ reception. Now, I do got to say, this is kind of some sportsbook odds shopping because 1+ receiving yard is actually plus 148 at FanDuel. 1+ reception, the best you can find is plus 120. So it's a little strange there, but make sure you get the plus 148. And for the record, the Dimers model projects 1 reception, and that is all we need. 1 reception for 5 yards is the Jake Bobo number here. He's recorded a reception in back-to-back games. Snap count is the important thing for me. He basically operates as Seattle's wide receiver 4. And obviously that's situational, but if a wide receiver 4 comes on the field and plays, I don't even know, 25% of the snaps, a few of those snaps are going to be designed looks to just get him a touch, and he's delivered in both of the playoff games recently. You look at the story of his season from week 7 to week 16, he did not play 19% of the snaps once. They were going to Cody White back then. Earlier in the season, they went to Torrey Horton as the wide receiver 4. Neither one of those guys have played a snap in the playoffs. It has been Jake Bobo. And even at the 2 final games of the regular season, he's played 26% of the snaps, then 13, then 25%, and 19 in the 2 playoff games. I just think he has a bigger role in the offense than the sportsbooks are really valuing. The Dimers model certainly agrees. They have a lot of guys projected for under 1 reception that are sort of these end-of-the-bench guys, 0.3, 0.4 receptions. Jake Bobo's got 1.0 projected receptions. If you're going to give me plus 148 odds on something Dimers says is the exact projection, I'm going to take that every single time.
I love that shout out. You got to figure a guy who's playing those types of snaps too. Some of those are going to be plays that he's schemed in, like where he's probably the first, second, maybe third read on a team that has plenty of other options. But if he's out there, they're probably doing it for a reason. He's got to be the first guy I've ever seen whose receiving yards go from 1+ and then 15+, 25+, 40+. I have never seen that, I think, in my life, even on a running back who gets maybe one target a game. Even Travion Henderson's at 3+. What a funny jump there. Maybe worth noting, too. I mean, for the maybe more adventurous, he's got, 4 games, looks like, with a catch this season. 3 of those, 16, 17, and 17 yards. Only one of them, he went under that. So, maybe play that 15+ as well.
Yeah, it's a fun shout. All right, you've got a second one for us. Where are you looking at?
I'm looking at game line stuff here, putting the model projections into maybe a bit of a unique way that I kind of came across just poking around in the many, many markets there are on the sports book. So this is Patriots to win the first half, Seahawks to win the game, and neither team to score 30 points. This is a plus 850 3-leg same game parlay on DraftKings. Dimers model projects the Seahawks win, as we mentioned, with a 62% probability. Patriots cover as well with a 60.1% probability. So both of those would play into this. Patriots leading earlier in the game is better for them to cover over the course of the full game should they lose. Since, say they're up and they give up a touchdown, they'll be within that threshold, theoretically. Neither team to score 30. We have that in our projected score of 25-21. If this is a close game, hovering near that total of 45.5, which you would imagine is a sharp line. It won't have a team scoring 30 if it's close anyway. Pat's defense is good. Seahawks is even better. 30 plus points by either team would be very surprising to me. Maybe a little bit of a coin flip here with the Pats Seahawks first half, second half, or first half full time. But we're just using the projections, kind of how our model expects this game to go, and taking a little shot for plus 850.
It's fun. I love it. I think anytime you can kind of play the game script out exactly as you foresee it coming and get nearly 9-1 odds, that's pretty great value. And I agree with the way you read this game pretty much in its entirety. So love it. Okay. My last one here, I'm going to flip. I want to have something on both teams this early in the week. So I'm looking at the Pats here. And given the various ways this could play out, I mean, I sort of agree with your general sense that the Pats will hang around for half of the game. Regardless, I think there will come a point where the Pats are playing from behind. And whether that's early or whether that's late, I mean, if the Hawks are as good as some of those trends show, we could see this become 45 minutes of the Pats playing from behind in a Super Bowl. I like the Pats receiving options as the right players to be betting from a props perspective, more so than their running game, which can be a two-headed monster, and Stevenson's been the better back. But I don't know that that's going to happen unless the Pats win the game, and that's unlikely to me. So I'm looking at Stephon Diggs and Hunter Henry, and I'm going to go to a combined player prop here. DraftKings has it plus 140 for Diggs and Henry to total 100 plus receiving yards. Now, I certainly think in the right game, just if it happens the right way, it breaks the right way, Stephon Diggs could come close to this by himself. But to me, these are the two primary targets for New England. These are the first and second look for Drake May, basically the entire game. Our model does project just under this at 8 receptions and 92 yards combined. But I think, me personally, I see it likely to exceed that just a little bit, just given game script. If they do have to throw, these two are going to get more than we expect. But when I saw they're projected for 8 receptions, 92 yards, I felt like that's a pretty good haul. To get plus 140 odds on just 8 yards more than that, to me, feels like a pretty decent edge. You'd have to be the smart person on the podcast to calculate exactly what that looks like to me. But I feel like anytime I'm trying to use these combined player props and just follow exactly what the model says, usually there's about like a 30 to 40 yard discrepancy between what's priced and what's projected. This is like plus money for 8 more yards than we see coming. I think it could easily happen.
Yeah, I love that. It's a great way to put the projections to work, honestly. Maybe find a spot that, you kind of have a little bit of an out if one of them underperforms and the other makes up the slack. I can't get out of my head that Stephon Diggs is going to have a crazy game and the Pats are going to win because, of course, he's going to win a Super Bowl before Josh Allen. But, I don't know. It's just one of those things nagging me in the back of my head that I could see it. But yeah, no, I think that's a great spot there.
I'm kind of terrified that you spoke that into existence. I'm just picturing sad Josh Allen at the press conference having to come to terms with that.
that old photo of Diggs standing on the field. What was it? The Chiefs were celebrating and the confetti's falling. Someone just going to Photoshop that to Josh Allen standing outside. Whatever the name of this Levi's Stadium. I almost said Candlestick.
It's not the most Hollywood matchup this year, obviously. There's a lot of new faces, but just like every Super Bowl, there's so many fun ways for this to go, storyline-wise. And I think that's the beauty of having 2 weeks to prepare for it. Any possible narrative that can be cooked up and uncovered is going to be found. So, all right, thank you. That was fun. We'll have a lot more for you. Again, we've got more episodes in store before the Super Bowl. So if you're looking for our more traditional game preview type content, don't worry, that's coming as we get a little bit closer to kickoff. But for now, I do want to turn next to some college hoops picks.
College Corner.
We got a little gift from the betting gods here because there are lines out for a big game on Friday night in my neck of the woods, Michigan and Michigan State on Friday. So this is a card with 2 picks for tonight on Thursday, and then that Michigan State game on Friday. We'll start with Illinois minus 12.5 on Thursday night against Washington. Illinois is rolling, and the scare here is that this is a sandwich spot game for them in between this monster performance where they beat Purdue on the road over the weekend and their star freshman had 46 points. Next, they go to Nebraska this weekend. I realize I'm laying out the reasons to be skeptical of this, but the only reason I'm doing that is just to say, if not for the sandwich spot, I think this line might be Illinois minus 19. They've been that good. They currently own the number 1 ranked offense in the history of the Ken Pom database, going back to 1999 in all of college basketball. That's absurd, but it's real. When you watch this team, this offense travels, and they can certainly do it at home. They're taking on a Washington team that just is an analytical mess. They take so many tough shots from 2. They've got 1 star player, Hannes Steinbach, in the front court, who is going to be really bothered by Illinois' size and ability to stretch the floor with their bigs that can shoot from 3. So I just think this Illinois thing right now is a train that keeps rolling, and I've tried to get out of the way of it a couple times. Now I just want to hop on board the train and ride it to another blowout victory. Second game of the night is Iowa State minus 16.5 against Colorado. It's another team that is just a team I want a piece of right now. Iowa State had that disaster week a couple weeks ago and lost back-to-back games, fell to 16-2 after an undefeated start through 16 games. I was really curious how they would respond last week, and they responded by pummeling a pretty good team in UCF. They beat them by 30 at home. That's the 45th best team in the country. In walks the 80th best team in the country, Colorado here, who really has not had the toughest games on their schedule yet. This Big 12 conference is full of top 10 teams in the sport, and somehow Colorado's schedule is just so backloaded. They haven't played any of them yet. I think this is a little underpriced because of that. We haven't seen Colorado really get blown out because they haven't played the teams who will blow them out. Iowa State in their home arena is one of the toughest teams to face, and I just don't see much resistance from a Cyclone squad that looks like a top 4 team in all of college basketball. Lastly, and certainly not least for people where I'm from here, Michigan State and Michigan. First place on the Big Ten is on the line. These 2 teams despise each other, but I got to point a couple things out here, even as a Michigan fan. You see my Michigan quarter zip. I can't believe Michigan State is a slight underdog here at home. This is Dusty May's second year as Michigan's head coach in this rivalry. He had a good team last year that he felt stacked up with Michigan State. They went 0-2 against Tom Izzo. He has not recorded a win in this rivalry. He just hasn't done it yet. And this Michigan team is great. They're brilliant, but they've had a lot of things going wrong for them that just feel like they haven't exactly bit them just yet. Michigan, in fact, has failed to cover the pregame spread in 7 consecutive games. They've just avoided losses because they haven't played a team as tough as this test that will be the Michigan State Spartans. So Michigan State, we know they defend like hell. They're the number 1 defense in college basketball. With that home crowd behind them, I just think this is a wake-up type game for a Wolverines team that has flirted with disaster for too long. Maybe it's the dooming fan in me that suspects this could happen, but I recommend we take the Spartans. And when I checked, I was surprised this line was out early. It was no surprise to me that Dimer showed a 56% probability of Michigan State covering that 1.5 point spread pregame. So there you have it. It's Illinois, Iowa State, and Michigan State to cover. 2 games on Thursday and 1 big time game on Friday night.
Very good, Greg. Quick question for you. I was just looking around at some lines while this was going on. Obviously, you can see here we're pulling in 17.5 for Iowa State, probably because of the number there. So you're getting the better odds. But it is still 16.5. And similarly, I saw Illinois at 13.5 on some books. Would you play them both at that number?
I would take whatever the best odds are, honestly. If you can get even, I don't mind playing an alternate line. I think both these games could and should be 20-point plus victories for these teams. Wow. So, yeah, if the line movement is trending away from where I spoke to it, if anything, you're probably getting a little less juice on that bet, and you're probably looking happier with the payout. So, yeah, fine with that.
Great. Very good.
There we go. All right. If you want more College Corner, like and subscribe to this show. Get your notifications every time the Dimer Sports Betting Podcast drops. Every Tuesday and Thursday has been the plan. And we've got more in store for you as we get closer to the national championship game in college hoops. We're going to unveil something new here next. And if you've listened to the show for months now, you've heard of our round robin concepts. This time, we are going to apply it to some NHL goal scorers. What do we got, Dave?
Yeah, huge slate, 15 games. Kind of felt compelled to do something beyond just, we're always chatting in the Discord. Hockey's a pretty busy channel in there. The guys are cooking up stuff today pretty much all day in there. But I just want to do something with, off some pretty nice edges hitting last night. And we've got a bunch up there in some pretty favorable matchups. So, yeah, we'll look at some top goal scorers in one of the more overlooked corners of the site, if you will. So I would recommend playing this ×3, ×4, ×5. Would probably skip the ×2 at some of the odds. It might be a little tougher to turn a profit if the two lower ones hit, depending on how you stagger your stake. I put a flat stake across ×3, ×4, ×5. So one little ×3 and we're cooking. Anyway, we've got our 5 guys here. Pull them up, starting with Zach Hyman of the Oilers versus the Sharks. 46% probability, +130, one of the highest probabilities of the night. 9 goals this month, scored in back-to-back games. His 21 goals are the third most on the team, and he missed the first 5 weeks of the season. Great matchup with the Sharks. Solid Dimers trend on site as well, with him tallying 3+ shots on goal in 10 straight games. Going back to Brock Nelson of the Avalanche versus the Canadiens, 38% probability, second highest in this game. Weird night last night, I said, where he had 0 shots on goal. Strange game for the Avs overall, who are in a bit of a tough stretch this season. Going to want to shoot themselves out of that. 3 shots on goal in 8 of his last 12. A goal in 8 of his last 15. 13 total goals in that span. 4 points in his last game versus Montreal with a pair of goals. Canadiens goalie's given up 3+ goals in 4 of his last 5. Next, we got Beckett Seneca of the Ducks versus the Canucks. 38.0%, top 1 in this game. If you don't know this kid yet, you really should. Drafted 2 years ago, made his debut this season. He's got 18 goals and 25 assists in 53 games. Second most goals on the team. He had a hat trick just a couple of days ago. Every month, his goals have gone up from 3 to 4 to 5 to 6. In January currently, Canucks allow the most goals in the entire NHL. Starting goalie's given up 6 in 2 of his last 3 starts.
Whew.
It's a good matchup. If he doesn't get one, I'd be surprised. If I'm playing 1 straight and 1 2+ tonight, it's him. Steven Stamkos, the Predators versus the Devils, 36% probability. Another guy who's the highest in this game. 7 goals in his last 8. Devils have given up 4 goals in 3 straight games. Projected starter, at least before the show, Jacob Markstrom's got an .879 save percentage this year. Not very good. And lastly, Alexei Protas of the Capitals versus the Red Wings. Another highest for his team. Third highest in this entire game at 33%. He was on fire in December with 8 goals and 6 assists. Came back down to earth a bit this month, but has a goal in 2 of his last 3 games. 3+ shots in 7 of 11 this month. Detroit's goalie, John Gibson, has been really good, so it might not be the most appealing, probably the least appealing matchup of these. Caps are struggling a bit lately, but really good model value. He's the longest odds here. If they're gonna win, it's probably gonna be with a Protas goal, at least a point. If you want a little side play, take all these guys for 1 point. Certainly pay out a lot less, but kind of a similar way to doing the anytime TD parlay alongside the first touchdown round robin. Give you a little bit of a safer, but still obviously a parlay risk angle. So again, I would play this ×3, ×4, and ×5.
Fun. Love it. I'm such a huge fan of the round robin concept. And I feel like with football, this reminds me more of trying to do just like a full game touchdown scorer round robin for football. At least you're not bit on like it's over within 10 seconds. Which was always my gripe with the first touchdown round robin approach. But at least this way you have an entire game to try and chase this down. Also good to see Steven Stamkos still cooking. I feel like players can play until they're like 50 these days. It's crazy.
Yeah, Brock Nelson's like 34, I'm pretty sure, 36 years old. Plenty of gray hair, and here he is.
Such a dangerous
seasons.
sport. It's like the last sport I would suspect for guys to age that well, but yet
No
here they
kidding.
are. Kudos. I guess when you're the toughest athlete on earth, that's how this works. But
yeah.
All right. Good luck to you and all round Robin Taylors tonight. That is a fun way to bet. Let's look next at some Australian Open check-ins here. So if you've listened to this or if you follow Dimers on social media, read the articles on the website, really any way of engaging with us, you know by now that the tennis model has been absolutely on fire. And this nailed the top probability picks with edges in the women's semifinals. We had Sabalenka covering 4.5 games and the under 22.5 on the right side of the hook in Pegula Rybakina. So we turn our attention next to the men's semifinal, where it feels like it's the same names damn near every major tournament in tennis. But as a tennis fan, I love this. Once you get to the semis of each tournament, this is just the highest level stuff you can see. Alcaraz, Zverev, and Sinner Djokovic in the semis. But we have an edge in each of the two semis. Dave, let's talk about it.
Yeah, pretty good stuff. I mean, like you said, great matchups here. Might get a little boring for the layman, but if you're really into the level of competition, it doesn't get much better than that. And, you'd rather see a good competitive final, although the model isn't projecting very much one of each in this. So we'll see what happens, but I'll pull up all of the edges real quick. They're all at least 58%. They all have a high value signal. All look like really good straights. So play them as you wish, but the model has some great value here. We'll start with Alcaraz and Zverev. Got a nice edge on Alcaraz to cover 5.5 games. This was 6.5 yesterday, so you're getting a good number. 12.1% edge against minus 115, under 37.5 at 65.6%, 9% edge against minus 130. Carlos is 7-2 in major semis, won 5 straight. This is his first year in Melbourne, though. Zverev not so lucky in these. He's 3-6 in major semifinals. Head-to-head, they're 6-6, 2-2 in majors. Zverev's got a slight edge on the hard courts at 5-3, but Alcaraz has won 3 of their last 4, so he's definitely got the edge there. Might be tight on paper, but the model is giving Alcaraz all of the edge as it has all tournament long. And then moving to the other one, Sinner Djokovic, similar to the other match, script-wise, but even more dominance. Model's projecting 58.7% for Sinner to cover 7.5 games, under 32.5, just 32.5 games at 58.2%. Basically projecting straight set dominance by Sinner. 12 games, each set would go over this. So the model's really expecting him to roll. Both these guys caught a break in the past week. Sinner was about to fall behind 2-1 before a break due to heat. Allowed him to bounce back, and he won that. Djokovic, this is kind of crazy. Advanced through his past 2 rounds without winning a set due to mid-match injuries by his opponents. So he may be pretty well rested, but he was likely going to lose in the quarters to Musetti if not for the injury. So not really what you want to be rolling into the finals with. Not really surprised to see the model projecting Sinner to roll. He dominates on hard courts, 6-2 in majors, won his last 5, also won last 5 head-to-heads with Djokovic, who is extending his own record of reaching 54 major semis, but he's lost 5 of the last 6, hasn't reached a major final in more than 18 months. Model's projecting Sinner to roll. You can catch an edge in all these matchups on site. There might even be a couple more lower edges in first set and full match if you want to take a look. Might be a little fun to play with some set betting for some side plays. Sinner 3-0, Alcaraz 3-1 would kind of fit into this mold here. You get a little bit longer odds on those. But yeah, worth a little look. But as the model's done, all tournament long, some really, really good wins and some great edges here.
Yeah, as someone who, I don't bet tennis as much as I honestly should, given how successful our model has been, but I certainly watch it because I don't know if you know this about me, Dave. I actually played tennis. It was my best sport in high school. And I just am a huge fan of the sport, huge Carlos Alcaraz guy, but Sinner is just such a dominant beast. And I want those two to continue to play for major championships as much as humanly possible. So to your point, it's fun to see the highest level, even if it is sort of the same names along the way here. It's a much more fun outcome than watching both these guys just 6-0, 6-1, 6-0, some Cinderella story to get there. But the hard part, it's kind of like Scotty Scheffler in golf for me right now, where he's so juiced. These two are so juiced in these matchups. Unless you really are set betting, there's no real way to take them. Like, I would love to moneyline parlay Alcaraz Sinner here, but you do that and you still end up with like minus 385 odds for them in the championship. It's insane. So I'm not surprised at all that the Dimers model reflects a dominant match from both of these guys here. But I think if anything, I might look at like a 3-0, 3-0 from these two, because I just don't see either one. And at a certain point, it's defeating, right? Novak is a competitor. He's always here, but he can't make it through these matches at this point in his career. And Zverev just has to be so demoralized with where he is at in this game. He's basically good enough to be number one throughout history, but then he gets to a semi against these two and has no answer. It's got to be frustrating.
Yeah. He's the Josh Allen of tennis.
Yeah, it's just at a certain point. He needs an actress girlfriend, and then he could get Okay, thank you for the tennis check for us. Great stuff. I think by the time we record next, the Australian Open will be over. So I don't want to tease any additional Australian Open bets. But I should tease that even in smaller tennis tournaments, we have tennis probabilities all the time on the site Dimers Pro. So go get 50% off Dimers Pro. Use promo code podcast to take advantage of that. Let's close the show as we always do with what else is on Dimers this week.
What's on Dimers this week?
Nothing we didn't really discuss on Tuesday's show. Super Bowl. Plenty of content coming your way. Published an article yesterday. There will be more over the next few days. And of course, well into next week. Farmers Insurance Open is going. First round is on now. We will have updates after every subsequent round. So keep an eye out for any live value there. Our daily sports on site, packed with insights, NBA, NHL, college hoops. We got some Premier League as well coming up this weekend. Plenty more to get through all weekend long. So, and I'm looking forward to post Super Bowl, as much as I love chatting NFL on here, and retooling this a bit to give you guys some different looks at some other parts of the site that maybe we don't get to quite as often.
Love it. All right, Dave. Thank you as always. Great episode. Stay tuned for future episodes of this show for more Super Bowl coverage leading up to the big game. Good luck with your bets this weekend, everybody. We'll see you next week.